Okay, so our clear coat is now dry, and so now we're ready to go ahead and glaze the next color. If you like the way it looks now, I mean, you can completely stop. It's very believable as it is, but again, we're going to keep going. So put your gloves on. Now just for fun, I'm going to go ahead and use both the glaze number 2 and the glaze marked number 3, the black glaze. Make sure you stir each one. Color has a tendency to settle to the bottom, and you want to make sure that you bring it back up because if you don't, it could end up being a different color. Okay, now we determined earlier that the rag actually looks better when you, or the glaze looks better when you blot it kind of unevenly, so we're going to go ahead and make that kind of bunched up. You can use the rag or you can use the cheesecloth, either one. It really doesn't matter that much. So, I'm going to use this for the darker glaze. Is that the darker? Yeah. I'm going to use this brush for the darker glaze, and I'm going to use this larger brush for the brown glaze. So now what you're going to do is you're going to go right inside of what you already have. I'll show you what I'm talking about. You're not going to kind of overlap. You're just going to sort of go right inside it. Now we're going to make slightly smaller shapes. Now you can do just this color if you want. You see I'm not going absolutely everywhere. I'm kind of leaving spaces inside this color now. And I'm kind of concentrating on where it's already a little bit darker in here. Okay, so we'll call that right there. Go ahead and blot that. Go ahead and blend it. Again, you want to make sure that it's really nice and blended. That's part of what tortoiseshell looks like. It's not, doesn't really have much in the way of hard edges in the color itself. It could be a mildly hard edge, like say on, from the lay-in to the first glaze, but these colors in between each other, the glazes on top of the glazes, really want to be pretty blended. Yeah, that's already looking really good. Okay, so that's what that one looks like. Okay. This brush is shedding. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like with the darker glaze. You can see how much darker this one is. And again, I'm just sort of making dots inside the brown that's already there, but not necessarily covering the whole thing. Go ahead and blot. And blend. Again, blending in the direction of this long line here first, to sort of elongate it and break it up, and then going back this way. See, like that. And again, what you can do is you can do sort of a mixture of the two, which is actually my favorite. So when you see this board when I'm completely finished, it might be a little bit uneven, Oh, or maybe I'll just fix it. Okay. I think that's what I'll do. I'll go ahead and fix it. I'm just showing a couple different options. This is really a subjective thing. You can pretty much do exactly what you want to do. You don't really have to follow a whole lot of rules on this, other than the fact that you do want it to be pretty blended. That's the most important part. See, now to that to me looks the best, these two colors put together. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this darker stuff I did with just the black glaze. Now I'm going to put the brown glaze in first. Now I prefer to go ahead and put the brown glaze on and blend it and then go back in with the black glaze, because sometimes when you put the two on at the same time, they can just get kind of muddy. Right here you can actually see there are two separate glazes, and maybe you can't see it on the camera, but you can see it in person, that's for sure. So I'm going to do a slightly larger section here, just because I can. And again, as you can see, I'm not covering the entire brown section that's already dry and isolated. I'm just kind of going in there with some extra color, because you want the fact that you can see the lighter thing that we did first. That's what real tortoiseshell, you'll see that between the darker and lighter sections, you'll see that area that's quite a bit lighter. It's a good idea to have more than one Badger blender also, because as it starts to get saturated with color, you can wipe it out, but if you try to wash it, any little bit of moisture, it transfers really quickly to your surface. You'll be surprised. And once you get water in it, because these glazes are really movable, you'll see the difference right away, and it won't be good. And you will see as you're blending what looks blended enough and what does not, because it just keeps going. And just when you think it's not going to blend anymore, all of a sudden, boom, there it goes. I'm going to put the black glaze in there. Maybe I put a lot of black glaze in one area and none in another. Or cover the whole thing. Again, it's really more a matter of personal taste as to what you want to do. And the more you do this, the more you'll start to get a feel for exactly what it is that you want in your faux finish. Because all of these things take practice. Again, blend in the direction of the long glazes here first to elongate what you've done. And then go ahead and go the other way just to sort of give it more direction. You don't want them just to be long, you want them to be spread out in all directions. If you start getting too much in the way of muddy little areas in your lay-in color, which you don't really want to have happen, you can just go back in with the rag and your finger and take out anything that you don't like. I'll show you in just a second here. So Tortoise does have, you know, like little marks like this in there, but if there's one you particularly don't like I don't like that one, that's a little too dark for me. So I'm just gonna put the rag over my finger. I'm gonna wipe it and get rid of it. And there's another one right here I don't particularly like either, so I'm gonna get rid of that one too. They're just a little too dark for me. They'd be more predominantly the brown glaze that you put down first. And that way, if you wanted to, you could actually completely wipe out all of your lay-in color still, because you've isolated that first layer of glaze. It's underneath clear and you won't end up wiping that off.